Welcome to another episode of Normal People. As you can see today, we have a bit of a change of, not scenery, change of host. So I'm Richard, and actually today I'll be guest of sorts, and you'll see why. And this is today's guest host, I guess, Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Our wonderful producer.
Of
A
course,
wonderful producer.
Mr. Producer,
Yes, Mr.
I've now
Producer.
taken over as the host, and
Because Rowan can't be
Rowan
asked.
is the producer.
This is no. It's all. You'll all see why we've given Gabriel the opportunity here.
Yes.
Of course,
yes.
and I'm given a wonderful opportunity to ask Richard about his new upcoming project, CubeSat. Now, I have a question. What made you start doing this project? What was it that inspired you?
I guess, well, actually, in year 10, I did CanSat, which is a project. It's a competition project. So we participated in me and 5 other people participated in a CanSat competition with other teams nationwide. And essentially, what we had to do was we had to engineer the CubeSat CanSat on 2 missions, and we had to launch it up into the sky. It wasn't into space; it was just into the sky. And I guess that sort of made me think about rocketry and stuff and where I could go from there. That coupled with the fact that with the CanSat project, we actually went to the national finals. We didn't win it, unfortunately. Our successors did, but we didn't win it. But essentially, I got sort of, I guess, enlightened
Inspired.
and
Like you wanna do
inspired, to do more. And also because I want to be an aerospace engineer when I'm older. I thought that this might actually be pretty nice, not for the CV, but actually genuinely to help people. And as a project, a CubeSat, launching a CubeSat is actually a pretty cool thing to talk about.
Yeah.
It will have good stories, late night shifts, etc., all part of the work.
Cool part. So you would say that the main objective is obviously to get something into space, right?
Yes. Well, that's the main sort of public objective, but we have a mission, and the mission's really important. I'm going to ask about the mission, or
Can we delve into this?
we can delve into the mission. So the mission we have in mind is we are going to use something called a hyperspectral imaging camera. So we're gonna that is a camera that can not only detect visible light but also different, for example, infrared and ultraviolet. A hyperspectral camera. This hyperspectral camera is going to monitor the Earth and orbit the Earth with the CubeSat, and it's going to measure the vegetation cover of the Earth and also the surface temperature of the Earth, and so get an accurate picture of urban heat islands in cities. Because heat waves, on average, every year they actually kill 500k people worldwide, which is an insane amount. I mean, every year, imagine that, and also, well, directly and indirectly, and it's going to rise. So essentially, scientists are predicting by 2060, actually, 20k people will die in the UK and Wales, in England and Wales alone, because of heat waves every summer, which is actually a pretty absurd amount, and it is not sustainable, obviously. Cities play a huge part because, on average, because of the poor urban design, but because of, well, not necessarily just in London, but cities worldwide, in different pockets of cities, urban design can really contribute to surface temperature, which can really contribute to the number of people getting heat stroke.
So you would say that this would make a big sort of impact on
this will make yes, because we're trying to map urban heat islands worldwide, and the fact that we're trying to map it and also create a database will help potentially sort of advise solutions for policymakers and decision makers and I guess think tanks, not just think tanks, but also inventors and scientists and also the general public, and advise them on what to do in order to sort of mitigate this crisis, especially with climate change pushing things worse and worse. And I know people are going to say, some people say climate change doesn't exist, but it's all around you. The effects of it is all around you. For example, just look at the, unprecedented temperatures we've had. I mean, it's been 32 degrees twice in the UK. Two mini heat waves. Mini heat waves exactly recently, and not just that. Worldwide, we've seen this sort of gradual increase in temperatures, and slowly it's becoming more and more unbearable. It's going to be more and more obvious as we head into the end of the decade, and so people will start to realize it. But hopefully it's not going to be too late by then. I mean, it probably will be. So, but the mission is essentially trying to inspire more progress and trying to advise solutions. Because instead of just trying to, I guess, dilly dally our way into solving the climate crisis, let's think about solutions. Be more technological rather than, for example, lifting people's taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely something like this would require a lot of investment and time, especially since
Yes.
it's such a big project and
Mhm.
such a big goal that you're striving towards.
Yes.
So what are your goals in terms of funding?
My goals in terms of funding. This project is a very big project, obviously, as Gabriel mentioned. So it will cost, I think, on the upper end, around the range of 400k, which is actually surprisingly cheaper than the average satellite, because we're doing CubeSat. So a CubeSat essentially is a 10 by 10 by 10 satellite, but we're doing, I think, 3 CubeSats stuck together. So it's a standard size called a 3U CubeSat. This will cost between, I think, 150k and 400k dollars. I think pounds. But compared to an average satellite, it's actually much cheaper. How we're going to do it? We are going to use a combination of crowdfunding, company sponsorships, and the European Space Agency has grants that they offer to people, and we're going to we're going to produce plans and stuff. We actually have already produced reports that we're going to submit to them, and we're going to find out the criteria we need. And maybe actually by the time of release, we've already found the criteria. But as of now, we're trying to email, and well, we're not trying to email. We're going to email in the next couple of days, and so we're going to find out criteria for grants, and it's going to be a mixture of sponsorships come from companies, grants, and also the individual crowdfunding and sort of goodwill of people, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of spending, because always 400k is still a lot. If you put it into your daily life,
exactly.
That is a lot more than what the average person makes. So, in terms of in terms of the mechanisms that it uses, okay, let's start off by saying how are you going to power it?
How we're going to power it?
Yeah.
So, well, in terms of getting it into orbit, this is the most expensive part, actually. We're going to get a launch provider. So essentially, it is a rocket carrying a main spaceship heading on some other mission that has some space for CubeSats. So that rocket will carry our CubeSat, and it's going to launch the CubeSat out into orbit at the right place. How we're going to power it? Usually, we're going to have, in terms of powering it for electricity, we have solar panels. Obviously, that is the go-to for satellites.
Yeah.
But we're going to have propulsion systems, and we're also going to have something called an attitude determination and control system, which controls the satellite's posture in orbit. So it sort of uses different kinds of fancy physics, which I'll explain in future videos because this is rocket science, so it's a bit complicated. But it's going to use things to reposture it and orient it in the right direction, and also propulsion system to propel it and sort of maybe make some minor tweaks to the orbit if necessary. But it's going to just naturally orbit. Yeah.
I mean, I think it is very impressive, but what are your sort of backup plans if, say, it fails or a mechanism goes wrong? Or would you still sort of try and remake it? Or
Yeah, well, backup plans in terms of that, we could remake it. There's always the option of remaking it, but obviously going into building a satellite going up in space does require a lot of preparation, a lot of sort of careful thought. We have produced about a 60-page report that I guess if people are interested in reading it, I guess majority of people in the audience won't be interested in reading it, but we might attach the link to it.
A few.
Because maybe a few. I mean, it's an open source project, so people can see it, but essentially, this project does require a lot of planning, and we will make sure everything is up to date and in the highest quality standards, because there are obviously standards before you launch things into space. There are laws around it. So we all have it covered in the document, actually. But all these systems and all these sort of fail safes, as you mentioned, are covered in the document, and these eventualities have been thought of and will be continued to, I guess, solutions will be continued to be devised, and so yeah,
that is
thorough
impressive.
testing essentially.
Thorough testing. Yeah, why
testing.
not? I mean, in terms of duration now, I think that should be noted as well. Is it going to be one of those things that just stays in space forever, or? How long?
So, well, for on mission duration is going to be between 6 and 12 months. I am eyeing a bit of a 9 month window to probably obtain enough data to create a solid database. After it sort of ends and the satellite gets decommissioned, the satellite will have to undergo a 25-year sort of decay plan. So we will have to submit that kind of plan to European Space Agency or whoever's in charge of our mission. And so we need to talk to them about how this satellite is going to be sustainable. It might re-enter orbit, but that's really expensive, and we need heat shields and all that. So, well, perhaps it could. Well, the most probably viable way is just to have a 25-year sort of deorbiting decommissioning plan, because obviously there's a lot of space junk out there.
Yeah.
And the ESA want to, and well, Global Space Agency, NASA, and the ESA want to sort of start preventing it. I mean, they are taking active steps, but essentially, this is what we need to do. So, 25-year plan to sort of decommission the satellite, and the satellite will decay slowly, and it will slowly sort of just die, essentially.
Especially, it is, I mean, a long-term goal.
It is a long-term goal.
In conclusion,
Yes.
but I mean, again, there is a lot of research that needs to go into this for it to actually work. So, what are your plans in terms of your team around CubeSat and researching CubeSat and developing it?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So we have built a really, really robust team around. I mean, I'm not hiring. I haven't actually hired everyone on the team yet because of the fact that we need the highest quality engineers and also compatible engineers. So we need, for example, people who are in the same year group, because that will match our sort of mocks, A-level timescales and stuff, because we are aiming to finish this project in 2 years, which will actually potentially coincide with some of the A-level timetables. So we're going to have to work around that. But with regards to the team, we have built so far people who are willing to have people who have steep learning curves and who are willing to or demonstrate leadership qualities, and people who really take initiative. So, for example, my software engineers, we have 3 software engineers. One of them was part of my CanSat team in year 10, and he really carried us essentially on the software bit. The other person is a robotics mainstay, so he's really participated in a lot of robotics competitions. And the other one's a really good expert. I've seen his credentials in computer science and coding. So that's just to name an example. In addition to that, we also have, for example, experts who will be helping us throughout the project. So we're going to get, for example, European Space Agency advisors who will be helping us and guiding us, and who will guide us through different stages of the project. And also, for example, we might partner with Imperial College London. We were looking at that, and companies like Surrey Satellite Technologies Limited, which both are quite near to us and also provide pretty high quality and expert advice that we can probably take from, and we can sort of adopt for our project. And so, yes, it's a mixture of the high quality team and also the experts that will help us sort of do these bits, and not do these bits, but sort of advise these bits and help us get those clicks in order.
I mean, yeah, right now, I know you're obviously starting with the project, but have you faced like anything major in terms of engineering? What are the biggest setbacks that you've had so far?
Well, the biggest setbacks we've had so far, I wouldn't say necessarily setbacks, but I think the hardest thing with regards to this project is team morale. I think it is team morale.
Do you think there's any difficulty in getting it off the ground, so to say?
With the right team, I don't think so. But it really takes an effort to try find people who are not just experts in their field, but also committed to this project and believe in the fact that we have a shot at, sending this into space. Because I know it's a hard sell for a lot of people. It is genuinely a hard sell for a lot of people. I mean, to fundraise that much, then you need high levels of technical engineering concepts. I do believe we're there. We are there because because the team I've selected have tough learning curves. We are able to, for example, in front of investors, recite complex physics, and with regards to the satellite, not normal complex physics as a whole, but with regards to the satellite, we were able to explain the systems and things like that. So yes, I do believe that we're there, but the team morale is one of the I guess is one of the biggest challenges that we will consistently face throughout the projects, because there will be ups and downs. Even though I have selected a team so far that genuinely believes in the project and are willing to follow through with it over the next 2 years, there will be, for example, people who just suddenly become demoralized, or people who have different things in life popping up, that might have to take leaves, people who might have exams, I have exams, you have exams.
We have exams.
We all have got exams.
Even producers
So,
over there.
Producers, temporary producers got exams as well. He's part of the outreach team, so, but so this is going to be the hard thing. So keeping team morale, keeping people here, keeping people together, and this is why I'm not the only one leading the project. Actually, I've got co-leads, I've got departmental leads, and it's not too big a team, but it's enough so that people can sort of consistently encourage each other. And that was what I made clear in our first sort of group meeting. I told them it's a long project. So we really, really have to, firstly, believe in the project, and secondly, sustain and encourage each other, which is very, very important for any project, but especially this, because we're going to face a lot of, I guess, not just our own self-doubt about whether this project can be executed, but public scrutiny. Yeah. Because, I've heard so many people saying, you can't do this, this is absurd, this is crazy, you barely know, GCSE physics. And I know, okay, I'm not going to blow my own trumpet, but I can do it.
I've seen yourself.
I can do it. I can't do it. You know me, come on, you know me. You know me.
As they say, the future is always evolving. So
the future is always evolving, yeah.
With that being said, are there any plans to? I personally don't know much about satellites, but I'm all learning right now. So, do you think there's gonna be any sort of upgrades or a follow-up mission?
Yes, there will be, and essentially, building on the success of this mission, we will be building more CubeSats for different missions. For example, I guess disaster relief is something that is on our minds, especially with not just climate change, but tectonic hazard disasters. CubeSats can provide pretty valuable imaging where, for example, there might be no network, so you can't fly a drone over something. CubeSats can help with that. CubeSats do have the resolution because we're not actually that high in orbit. We're about 400, 500 kilometers, and they have usually got really, really high quality cameras. So yes, we will build more CubeSats, and we will sort of build on from there. But I guess the main thing is to focus on this mission first, and yeah, it will succeed. It will succeed.
In terms of like space in itself, I've always personally been hearing stuff about maybe outer planet exploration. So maybe even finding somewhere new to live. Is that something that maybe you take on?
I guess it is a possibility, but what I'm doing right now is I'm focusing on sort of more Earth-based solutions. So other than this mission, obviously I've been looking at, in terms of outer space exploration, not to live actually, but to, for example, asteroid mining. CubeSats can't directly mine asteroids, not with the current technology. But CubeSats can play a very, very crucial role in asteroid mining in a world which our resources start to get depleted and the environment starts to get damaged. Asteroid mining is something that I think, as my personal opinion and from what I've seen, is a really, really viable and really, increasingly going to be feasible with increased space exploration solution to getting more minerals to, for example, make our phones, make our mics, and make all those electronics that we really, really need, but also crave. So yes, I'm focused on in terms of outer space exploration and finding some place to live. Not necessarily just that yet, but exploration as a whole. Yes.
This has been a great interview, and I've learned a lot as well as the viewers. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That's about it.
So that's the end of the episode. Yeah. Thank you.